Um, hey, everybody. Today we are joined by Morales of the Sang Empire. So thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. So let's just start with how long have you been playing the game?
Well, I've been here since Alpha, but I haven't played continuously. I've taken breaks here or there to try other games, playing single player games. Also, back in 2022 or 2020, I moved to Italy, and so I took about a 2-year break to focus on my career. But
Nice.
I'm heading back to the States soon, and so I decided to jump back in and get involved.
Cool, man. Awesome. Well, and have you always been a Sang?
No, I started out originally when it was two nations as an Izmir.
Okay.
And when Sangs showed up, I had a bunch of friends come to this game from another game called Tiger Knight. I had played this game in probably 2 years up to that point, and we all joined them because we had the whole Roman theme going on, and we stuck around with them for a good 3 years, and took a little break from the game, came back after a couple of updates, and went up and played with Ismers for a little bit. Enjoyed that. Did the same thing. Stepped away, took a little break, came back, and now I'm gonna stay home, stay where I belong here in Sangmar.
Nice, man. That's awesome. I do have to admit, like when I go through the cosmetics, I pull towards like I was like when I first joined the game, I was like, oh, this one looks cool, and all the guys in Midlanders like, oh, that's Sang armor. You can't wear that. You can't. I was like, damn it, I really like the Sang armor.
It's cool, ain't it?
Yeah, you guys get all the gold stuff. I'm like, man, I want to be a gold knight.
The next skin that comes out is supposed to look really cool too. I'm excited to see that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, do you follow the development a lot? Are you happy with the development and the team around it?
It's a sort of in the middle.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's been ups and downs. Sometimes it feels like momentum is a little slow, but they are consistent. That's something very positive. They haven't been consistent for like a year and then became inconsistent. They've steadily have been consistent the entire time over the years, every week, adding little bitty things, and the progress that they have reached compared to where they were at when they started is it's almost like a completely different game.
Uh,
Everything's completely different,
and would you say
and
it's changed for the better? Because I've read some reviews, and some people that originally like backed the game really were like trashing that because it had changed so much. Do you think it's a positive change? Everything?
I think as far as well, I think you have to break it down to each thing independently. So when it comes to State of Wars, I love the new mechanics. I love the mantlets. I love everything they've done with that. When it comes to combat itself, it does feel like it has slowed down just a little bit as far as if you're doing smaller scale things or duels. But caveat off of that, if you're doing bigger, larger scale group fights, 20 versus 20, it feels just the same as it has always felt.
Well,
So
that's
for me,
good.
it doesn't impact me that much, but it does impact a couple of people who like to solo. Um, I would say that they have improved a lot for the better,
Good.
and that's why I'm here now, and that's why I'm bringing back a lot of my friends from multiple different guilds to come back, and we are really excited and waiting for 1.0 to release. And I believe with the new State of War features that are coming out and the new map, it's going to bring a lot of new fresh air into the game, something that we've been looking forward to for years.
That's awesome. And so it's you love the Sangs now. So have you ever been a Midlander or always just Sangs and Izmirs?
No, I've never been in Midland.
Okay.
I do like the terrain over there. It's always relaxing. I can see why a lot of people enjoy it.
Pretty
And
and green, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's very beautiful and relaxing. Izmir's, after a while, you start getting a little depressed.
So
It gets.
what makes the Sangs special? Like what do you think makes them better? What's their one thing that's better than the other two nations? If you had to pick something.
When Sangmar came out, they were the third nation. So you already had Izmir set up, you already had Midland set up. So for someone to pick Sangmar, you either did not have any idea what you were getting yourself into, or you knew precisely what you were getting yourself into, which means you were going to be heavily outnumbered. You were going to be getting attacked from both fronts, and you were not going to have the numbers to compete with that. So it catered a lot to a lot of people with the mindset of wanting a challenge. And this is very unique to the other nations because if you can't handle the competition over here, if you can't handle being outnumbered and whatnot, then you're not going to last. So
Yeah,
there's been lots and lots of periods over the past few years where the nation rises and falls, and it's that specific reason. And for me, I like that. I like that challenge, and especially with the whole Greek and Roman theme, the whole Spartans and stuff going against outnumbered foes. It just seemed fitting,
that's
and so
awesome.
this is what I really like about it.
Cool, man. And so, if you had a tip for any new Sangs joining the Empire, what would be like your number one tip for them?
This whole game is going to be built around the community. You can still have a guild, you can still be independent and do things, but the main content, the main game itself is the community. So if you get into this game, I recommend reaching out to anybody in the nation, whatever whatever nation you're going to play, either it's mid or Ismers, and find out what's the Discord that you can get into, because usually all the nations have a Discord where everyone goes, and get in there and learn the game, because oftentimes you might spec your character incorrectly, and we can help you figure out a whole series of different specs, as well as power level you in a sense where if you go into Valley of Death when the right teams go in, or go to Raggy, Brandon, do these PvE encounters with the group, you're going to level up quick. And if you will have no idea any of this is going on otherwise, if you're not in the comms. So
Yeah,
get into Discord and start learning the game through the community.
yeah, and I think that is like, I mean, there is the quest thing, but I mean, you could essentially not do any of the quests and level very quickly just by joining the community events, and I think that's a really cool thing by doing VODs, and they've done a good job, in my opinion, of you're not feeling like under overwhelmed when you're in VOD because they give you a little boosts and stuff like while you're leveling. So, I mean, the
Yeah,
community is awesome.
even like a level 30 or 40 archer, even though I don't encourage new players to go archer because it requires heavy situational awareness. If you're not paying attention or you're new, someone will jump up behind you and chop you down in 2 hits. You won't have the time to react. However, level 30, 40 archer doesn't require much resources to sustain them, and they can do significant damage and run around the battlefield just aiding their team, hitting for probably more damage than someone who's level 100. So it's just something where you don't have to wait to be max level to be effective. You can get in there day one within 3 hours, 4 hours, and start doing some significant damage if you're a good situational awareness player.
And so, what spec do you play?
Well, I played medic for the past 5 years.
Oh wow.
And in fact, I have two characters. I have Retox as well, and both of them are medics. I back when they allowed you to have multiple characters in different guilds, and we would try to protect different guild castles. I would have a medic in one guild protecting one castle, and a medic in the other guild protecting the other, so I could alternate between them. But as of like 3 days ago, I respected to tank, and
Okay.
I'm trying this out. But when I first started playing for about half a year, I played as a bruiser. But medic is medic is my crutch. Even as a tank, I hear someone saying they need to be res, and I'm programmed to just run over there, forgetting that I'm no longer a medic, and I attempt to res people, and I forget.
So maybe for our newer players, can you kind of explain like the how the medic actually works in this game?
Well, there's two types of players who play medic. There's the players who try to play aggressive, which is not how you want to play medic. They just can't help it. And then there's those who focus specifically on staying back and picking their comrades up. And this action is how you completely change the battlefield if you're losing it in your favor, and it's how you are able to sustain the battle in your favor, especially if you're pushing into a shield wall and oil drops, 10 of your guys wipe, and you're able to plug in that hole with a few more troops. You have just a few seconds, you have less than 30 seconds for you and the other medics to collectively communicate, get in there and pick people up. And if you don't do it, the enemy can sally out and wipe you. If you're able to do it, you can continue sustaining. And the nation, you don't want a nation with just medics. You want about one medic per 8 people.
Okay,
But the medics are what win the wars in
cool.
this.
Cool, man. That's good. I've always been a healer like in other games, and I lately I've been trying to pull myself away from that role because like you just once you're a healer, I feel like you always are a healer. Like you just have that mindset where you're more focused on support.
Hmm.
And that's always been my play style. And I'm trying to get into games where I'm playing more of like a damage role and stuff. But I always love to see support players out there.
Yeah, I
Um,
wish I could do a damage too. And to add to that, there's also a third role for that
oh,
makes it very important for medics, and that's shot callers. So
oh,
if you're a
okay.
bruiser or a tank and you're on the front line and you happen to go down and you die first, well then you're effectively not able to shot call.
Yeah.
So being a medic and not being in that fight and being able to walk up and pick someone up, that 6 seconds that you're picking them up, you can turn around, you can scan, you can see what's happening on the battlefield, and you can communicate that effectively, and help push your team forward while picking people up without putting yourself in danger.
Cool, man. I think this is some great information for new players, even for me. Like, there's this, I didn't know a lot about the medic. So, question, this game is just a three-way rivalry, basically. So, at the end of my videos, I just want to have a chance. If there's any rivalries out there that you guys want to call out, you're more than welcome to.
Well, I thought about this.
Okay.
I don't want to call anybody out because when it
You can
comes to
call out
shot
a
callers,
guild. We don't got to get personal. We can do,
well, this is what I'll say. I will say something at the end of this. When it comes to shot callers, I respect all of them, even my enemies, even the ones that people may not agree with, because it takes tremendous effort to shot call. It's almost like a full-time job, and you take on the burden. If your team loses, you take the blunt of that. It will always be your fault. It will always be a responsibility, and that's just a part of it. And so it's a tough job. Not many people can do it. A lot of people step up to the plate, and they can't follow through. So when someone is a steady shot caller and they're persistent and they don't stop playing, I mean they deserve respect. So I'm not going to call anyone out as far as that because we need shot callers in this game. Otherwise the nations collapse. But with that being said, to my friendly Midlanders, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. They said we wouldn't attack Waterford yesterday and they saw what happened with that.
Oh man! All right. Well, this is awesome. Hey, thanks you again so much for joining me. It's awesome to have you guys here, and glad we could meet and friendly, and it brings the community together. I feel like.
Absolutely. And we need to do everything we can as a community to help each nation grow because without the other nations growing, there is no competition. If there's no competition, there's no game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you.